Now, as we consider the warriors of the Vietnam War, we're going to focus in on the North Vietnamese because they possess the army that eventually won this prolonged conflict. And one of the very interesting things about the North Vietnamese victory is the turning point. The turning point that swung the war in the favor of the North Vietnamese was actually a massive military defeat. And this is important for you because as a warrior, you're not going to be able to win every single battle. You need to know how to lose beneficially. The first thing you need to know is you want to display audacity. The North Vietnamese, during this turning point, which was the Tet Offensive, they attacked very audaciously. They attacked roughly 100 cities and towns across the entire span of South Vietnam. This totally took the Americans and the South Vietnamese by surprise. An attack on this scale wasn't even considered possible, and yet the North Vietnamese launched it with great audacity. They also displayed during this battle their willingness to sacrifice. Although they initially surprised the Americans and the South Vietnamese, the Americans and the South Vietnamese rallied very quickly and actually decimated vast portions of the North Vietnamese army. And although this became a military loss, the willingness to sacrifice shocked the Americans and particularly the American people. Everybody saw that the North Vietnamese were serious. This was going to be a long and costly war, and that was something the American military and the American public got less and less excited about because they saw the determination of the Vietnamese army. The North Vietnamese were going to keep fighting. They'd been fighting for decades, and it seemed like because of this major offensive that they did lose, but they showed the audacity and determination to keep fighting indefinitely. And that is what communicated to the Americans, the South Vietnamese, and particularly the American public. Everyone realized this is going to be a long war because the North Vietnamese are committed to their end. They know what their end is. And their end was a unified Vietnam under the political leadership of the North Vietnamese. And they saw that end through to completion. Eventually the war ended with the South Vietnamese government surrendering unconditionally to the North Vietnamese. So you need to know, as a warrior, your job is not only to create the end for your kingdom, but keep everybody focused on that end. Because you know your end, and then even losing will serve your cause.